Hello and welcome in, everybody. We got One Piece chapter 1136, full spoilers. My name is Sai, and today we are here to just talk about that upcoming chapter of One Piece and have some fun with it. If you haven't read these spoilers yet, I will be linking them down in the pinned comment, so feel free to check that out. But yes, to kick things off, I want to talk about that cover page story, because it looks like, after 22 volumes of it, it's getting somewhere. So now that Tama, Yamato, and Speed have taken down Hold'em, we're now forcing him to take us back to his secret base. And we see that the secret base is shaped like Who's head. I'm not too sure what that really means, because Who's head is like a mask and he has like those crazy horns. But either way, like, we're going to potentially see Who's Who in the next couple of chapters, maybe even the Tobiropo. But I'm not too sure yet, right? There's no confirmation there. That's simply what the leakers say. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, we don't know where the Tobiropo is. We don't even know where Jack the Drought is. When Aramaki Green Bull came to Wano, he took King, Queen, and Babanuki. But what about the rest of the Beast Pirates, right? So I think it makes sense if this is where the Tobiropo are holed up, and I wouldn't be shocked if they are the ones kidnapping women and swords. I just don't know what the vision is yet, though. But now I'm finally hooked, right? I want to see the next week's cover page story already. So now, on to the chapter. Like I said yesterday, we learn about two variations of the Sun God. We got the Sun God of Liberation and the Sun God of Destruction. The Giants cannot read the ancient language that their mythology is written in, so because of that, there's a lot of disparities as to what the Sun God is, and that's why we saw Road cosplaying as a really strange Sun God and locking people in cages, because that is his variation of the Sun God. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that this could mean, right? I wonder if Robin could read the language. I feel like she should definitely take a crack at it. If anybody could read an ancient language, it's probably just going to be Robin. Maybe even Saul, right? I wonder if Saul has actually tried to take a gander at it. So now that we know that the Giants of Elbaph believe in two different versions of the Sun God, I wouldn't be shocked if Loki wasn't lying. I wouldn't be shocked if Loki didn't misinterpret his fruit and that he is the actual Sun God, just the Sun God of Destruction, while Luffy is the Sun God of Liberation. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now, right? Luffy's is more liberating, so he's stretchy, and then Loki's all about destruction, so maybe he encapsulates the fire properties of Sun God Nika more, because usually fire and destruction kind of go hand in hand, and then when you think of liberating and being free, it's because Luffy is stretchy and he's kind of breaking the boundaries there, or at least that's how Luffy describes it, right? He calls it his free form, so I do think Luffy is going to be the liberation version. But it's funny because while this whole conversation is going down, Luffy is really dense about it, right? He's like, oh, like, he laughs, he stretches, he does all this, he has the white cloak. Yeah, kind of reminds me of myself, but, that's not me. I have no connections to that Sun God guy, which makes sense, right? I think this easy to call Luffy dense, but Luffy's had the Gomu Gomu no Mi for like a majority of his life. So of course he's not going to instantly believe that he's this mythical sun god out of nowhere. Like, he's going to need more proof to get to that point. But hopefully he starts realizing it little by little, like, hey, like, maybe there's too many similarities, right? Maybe I'm too similar to the sun god guy they're talking about. So while this is all going down, we actually see a depiction of the sun god of Elbaph. And it is a little bit different from what we saw in the Who's Who silhouette, right? Who's Who, back in Wano, when he talked about the sun god, we saw that guy jumping up in the sky, and he had a sword and a spear. But the sun god that we see in this chapter has a sword and a shield. Again, kind of reinforcing the notion that there's two variations of this myth, or at least what they believe in, which I think is really cool, right? Because Vegapunk told us himself that devil fruits and powers like these are based off of imaginations and beliefs. So since the Giants are so split in their decision as to what the sun god actually is, it really could just give birth to two different devil fruits of the same variety. Super crazy stuff, man. Super crazy stuff. So we come to find out that Loki might not be the good or, mistaken hero that a lot of people think he is, right? I was kind of on the boat that, maybe Loki didn't mean to kill his dad. Maybe he was forced. Maybe he's being blamed. Maybe he's a good guy. But the Giants kind of laugh at that notion, right? Because Luffy asked that too. Luffy's like, hey, like, that Loki guy, is he really all that bad? And the Giants start listing off all the bad things about him. One, there was a prophecy that the son of the king would kill King Harold, and Loki kind of fulfilled that prophecy to our knowledge. And then we had the whole thing with his mother dying. Loki tamed the underworld and then let the beast loose in the village. And then we have the whole thing with Ja Rule, which I think is the most damning one, right? Other ones can be misconstrued, but apparently Loki attacked Ja Rule. And that's why he has the sword stuck in his helmet, because of Loki, right? That is like a first-hand event right there. So yeah, Loki might be a little bit of a menace, but of course, we kind of got the same thing with Odin. Back when we got his story, like Odin was also a menace when he was born, right? Over here, changing rivers, you know, stealing people's wives, beating up all the samurai. Like Odin was also kind of in the same vein, but Odin was good. So I do still think that we need to see more from Loki, but the giants aren't exactly painting a good picture. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's not a good guy. I think Loki will fall in like the gray category, right? He's not exactly a good guy, but he's not exactly a bad guy. And the reason I'm saying he's not a bad guy is because later in this chapter, we come to find out that he turns down the world government offer, right? He doesn't want to work with scum, as he calls them. So at least he has that redeeming quality, right? At least he's not joining Emu, right? It's the least he could do, but still pretty good. So we come to find out, again, that Shanks is the one who took him down 6 years ago. After Loki killed King Harold, he took to the seas. He fled to the ocean, which is probably how he got his bounty of 2.4 billion, right? Because he was a pirate for a short stint, and that is when Shanks took him down. And Shanks, instead of just beating him and leaving, Shanks actually beat Loki and brought him back to Elbaph. Kind of crazy to think about, right? Because all the villains we've beaten thus far in the story, we knock them out and then we just go to the next island, you know what I mean? So it's kind of funny, like, imagining Shanks locking this guy up and just hauling him back home. But yes, that is what happened, and that is probably why Shanks became a Yonko, right? Loki was a pirate, he was possibly causing a lot of chaos on the seas, and Shanks is the one who put an end to all of it. So I think that does make a lot of sense, especially when you had that 2.4 billion berry bounty. Like, yeah, that seems like an emperor feat right there. So now, we come to find out again why Zoro and Nami want to go with Luffy to help free Loki. Zoro wants to go because he says that Luffy's going to get lied to. He doesn't trust Loki because of all of the stories they just heard. So to make sure that Luffy doesn't get played, Zoro wants to come with him. And Luffy convinces Zoro why he wants to free Loki too. He says, hey, I want to know where Shanks is. I want to see Shanks. And Zoro doesn't really argue against it. He's like, okay, I just got to come with to make sure everything is a-okay. And as far as Nami, she doesn't really give a good reason. She just says, hey, Zoro, Luffy, you guys would be lost without me. So Nami tags along, and we actually get a fourth member that comes with us. And that person is Road. Road, the fake sun god we saw at the beginning of Elbaph, decides to become Nami's slave. We should have seen this coming. With how hard he was simping for Nami back during the beginning parts of Elbaph, I think it makes sense that he wants to follow us. He did apologize as well. Gerd made Road apologize to all of the Straw Hats, so I think we're pretty even now, right? So yeah, Road is coming with us, and I think this is really interesting because he's about to witness the sun gods in action. Like, it's not confirmed that everybody's gonna fight right off rip, but Road is a big Sun God fan, and this guy is traveling with Sun God Nika Luffy, and pretty soon he's about to meet the other Sun God Loki. So yeah, this guy is in for a show. And also, I gotta say this, but we gotta start putting more respect on Road's name. I'm not even joking when I say that, because we come to find out later that the Holy Knights, the God Knights, Gonko, and the fake Shanks, they don't have any information on Loki. And do you know why? When they said this in the full spoilers, my mouth dropped. I couldn't believe it. But they said the reason they have no information on Loki is because all of the agents they sent to Elbaph were attacked by a crow. So Road was unknowingly stopping the world government's operation and intelligence gathering. That is crazy. Road and Mugen have been putting down agents of the world government this entire time, and they have no idea. So this means that the people we saw, well, not everybody, but some of the people we saw back in Rodo's Playhouse are WG agents. Insane. That is crazy to think about. Road has actively been helping Elbaph this entire time. We gotta start putting more respect on Road, dude. Like, I feel like that's a big W, man. That's a big freaking W. So, we come to find out that the Strawhats, they're gonna go get the keys right now. So, they're actually on their way to the Elbaph castle. And when they get there, I wonder what they're gonna see, right? They open the doors to the castle. They're probably gonna see either dead guards, mummified guards, or maybe just the guards screaming for dear life, because last we saw, the guy was just screaming, it hurts, it hurts. So I wonder if they're still in that same spot. But yes, they're about to go to a bloodbath, and they don't even know it. And also, since they're going to go there for the keys, there's a good chance that the keys aren't there anymore, and they just speed up and try to go find Loki ASAP. Because I like to imagine that Gunko and the fake Shanks took the keys while they were there already. So now, we cut over to the underworld, and we come to find out that, of course, the Holy Knights want to recruit Loki into their ranks. And this is huge, right? Because one, it's like, oh, like you don't have to be of royal lineage and a celestial dragon to become a Holy Knight. That is not a requirement. And Loki doubles this by saying, hey, like, you guys, you must be celestial dragons, right? And they don't respond. Gonko and the fake Shanks don't say anything to that. So it's like, yo, like, maybe the entirety of the Holy Knights is not comprised of celestials. But that wouldn't make sense because Garling is one. So, you know, it's really questionable here. And it makes sense if Gonko doesn't respond to keep it ambiguous. But for Shanks, or at least the Shanks clone dash twin, or whatever you want to call this guy, but the fact that Stabs doesn't answer is really odd to me, because we know that the real Shanks has Figarland blood. Like, that guy, like, our dude, our Shanks, is a celestial dragon. So why doesn't this one say anything, right? I feel like that's something they would be proud in. And the thing is that they're not afraid to conversate, because they actually talk a good amount in this chapter. So yeah, I thought that was really fascinating. Of course, the girl is the one who kind of takes the lead here. So she takes off her hood and we actually get her full design. And apparently she has these long sleeves that turn into bandages, and she does indeed have bandage-like abilities. And we actually see these abilities in action because she does string up Loki's wolf, and they're like, hey, you know, if we kill your wolf, will you join us? And I'm like, okay, that's a bad way to recruit somebody, right? Hey, I'll kill your friends and family if you don't help us out. It's like, okay, like, I'm not gonna like you guys. But Loki, he doubles down. He says, oh, well, if the wolf dies, that is his sad, sad fate. A real warrior would take that death and turn it into anger and use it to destroy the world. So Loki really is playing into the destruction aspect of the sun god that the giants upstairs were talking about. So yeah, there's some good stuff here, man. And as far as Gunko goes, her design sounds insane because not only does she go full on with the bandage abilities, but her eyes are different colors. So one eye is like black and white, and then the other eye is like white and black, like outside, inside. So I thought that was really cool. I can't wait to see what that looks like. And I'm glad we actually got them taking off the robe, right? Like, I was afraid that we wouldn't see the full design for a while, but we got it here. And Redon actually explains what her name means. So yesterday I kind of posed the question like, oh, like, what does Gunko mean, right? I didn't have a chance to look it up yet. And a lot of people were kind of rallying behind that Gunko meant war drums. And I tried to look that up and I couldn't really find anything of the sort. War drums are typically taiko, but apparently there is like an odd translation where it can be turned into war drums as well. Which, you know, Japanese, a lot of intricacies to it. But yeah, Gunko could have meant war drum, but Redon says it actually means army child in this context, which I thought, again, kind of fits this narrative, right? War drum, army child. Another translation would have been military port, which, oddly enough, I didn't make this connection, but the thumbnail from the last video is actually of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Gunkin ship. And if you guys don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course originates from Japan, and they also have a lot of play on words when it comes to their archetypes. And I picked Gunkin ships because it reminded me of Gunko, and I didn't realize that that is what they're going for. So yeah, Gunko, military port, Gunken, so we have these crazy Yu-Gi-Oh! Ships. I thought that was funny. But yes, we got the army child here, and I'm excited to see what Stabs has to offer, right? We got this girl using bandage-like abilities, but Stabs, the Shanks clone, twin, brother, whatever you want to call him, he has not done anything yet. But yes, that is it for the chapter, guys. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of theories that could come out of this. And I didn't even talk about one thing, too. But when they were talking about the sun gods and the Elbaph mythology that's here, they said that apparently, according to that, The world has been destroyed twice already. And Loki wants to destroy the world again. He wants to go in for a third time. And I really wonder what the context is behind this. And what world are they referring to? Are they talking about the world of One Piece? Or are they talking about Elbaph, right? Because here in Elbaph, they consider their layers, worlds, and realms. One thing that stands out to me is the tree of Elbaph, the Yggdrasil atom tree. Because it looks odd. Like, you know, where the sun realm is, it looks like somebody tried to cut the tree in half successfully, and then the tree just continued growing afterwards, and that's why we have the sun realm being there. So I wonder if that's what they mean as well, but again, we have no clue. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this chapter. What was your favorite part? What are your theories coming off of it? I would love to hear any and all of those thoughts, opinions, and theories down below. And of course, we will be reading through the comment section in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's it for the full spoilers, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really freaking appreciate your time, your support, all your likes, comments, and everything, man. Couldn't be here without y'all. And I will catch you guys later. Signing out.